Hello and welcome to Naomi's Bookshelf for my Readathon TBR for February. So in February there are I think 4 or 5 readathons that I want to participate in, so I decided why not just bite the bullet and do them all. However, that does mean that there's a huge amount of TBR talk to do. So I figured let's throw them all in one video instead of doing them in my normal TBR video. So I did have my TBR video come out on Thursday, I believe, and that one has my TBR clue board game if you'd like to check that out. It has my fun way of picking books and a couple books that I will be on here. However, we're gonna go over them all now. So the first one that I'm definitely participating in is the Black Lit Challenge. This is my top priority for the month. I really love the idea of this one. This one is hosted by the Artisan Geek and I am so excited. A lot of these books will be outside my comfort zone in some ways, so I think this will be a really great thing for me to read anyways, but I'm excited. I am going to be reading a few things in particular for this, but I'd also like to try to read some more diversely in this if I have time to pick up things. I'm not planning on reading much more than I have set, but I feel like I've set a good amount. I'm rambling, let's move on. I am going to be reading White Rage by Carol Anderson. I bought this one a long time ago, back in June, and I just took a long time to read White Fragility. I felt like that was a really good one to take my time with. And now I have also the audiobook and ebook of White Rage, and I'd like to read that one. This one's also going to double up for the Buzz Wordathon, as that one's priority to read is color in the title. So White Rage is my top priority for the first week of the month. I'm really excited to read it. I think it's going to be very hard-hitting and difficult to read at times, but very important and very impactful. So that's number 1 on my list. So one that is very outside my comfort zone is Binti by Nidhi Akafora. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I'm very sorry if it's not. This one is in particular outside my comfort zone because it's science fiction, and that's something I don't tend to pick up a lot of, but I am really interested in this. I found that no one talks badly about it. They all enjoy it. And I found an audiobook of it, so I am really excited to listen to this one. It will be a quick read, I hope, but also maybe a really interesting one for me to start into science fiction, and especially Afro science fiction. I think that'll be great. And so the last book that I'm prioritizing for the Black Lit Challenge is Solo by Kwame Alexander and Mary Rand Hess. This one is a book of poetry, so I'm reading it in audio form, so it's going to be like spoken word. And I believe it's a YA book about a boy whose father's kind of a rogue, and his girlfriend's parents don't want him to be with her because of his father, but he's in love with music and he wants to explore that more. I've heard it's going to be interesting, according to the reviews, they're really great, but at the same time, I did read another book by Kwame Alexander and really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to pick up this one as well. So I have 3 audiobooks for the Black Lit Challenge, and I am going to prioritize them all. So the next readathon that is a top priority for me is the Little House Readathon. This one I'm a co-host of, so I must read books for it. It is taking place from February 7th to February 10th, as those are the days that Laura Ingalls Wilder was born and died, and so it rounds off to be a nice 4-day readathon. We are reading 2 books, or I'm reading 2 books. The first book is a group book, and it's very short. It's called Let the Hurricanes Roar. It's by Rose Wilder Lane, who is Laura's daughter, or it also has the title of Young Pioneers. I don't have my physical copy yet. I don't know if I'll get it in time. I might pick up the ebook. If not, though, I am fine with that. However, I do have a physical book, which is Pioneer Girl. So I don't plan on finishing this within the 4 days because it's huge. It's 400 pages and it's like double side print on the books. But I am excited to start this at the very least, maybe get a good chunk of it through it and read it through February as well. It's just an autobiography by Laura about her life, and I'm wondering what she left out, what she's kept in. I'm interested, and so those are 2 very important priorities for me. So one readathon that I will be low-key participating in is the Historathon, as I have a couple books that fit into challenges, but I'm not going to be like die-hard committing, as this is only what readathon 4 out of 5. So I'm gonna do my best. Let's get into those ones. So for the first part of Historical-a-thon or Historathon, I will be able to do a few prompts with 3 books that are already on my TBR. I'm not shoehorning anything else in, to be honest. I just need to read what I have here, and if I can do more, thumbs up, that's great. Love the idea. But I can't commit to more than what I already have. So one of the prompts is to read a book set in a location you have visited, which I don't know if I can do this, but if Let the Hurricane Roar by Rose Wilder Lane is set in that area, then I probably could do it. It's historical fiction that she originally wrote about Charles and Caroline, even though it's massively not about Lord Charles and Caroline, and then she later changed the names. So maybe that one fits in. I don't know though yet, so we'll see. That one might also it doesn't technically count, but I might be able to count it in my head as a multi-generational one, as that one takes place it's about originally Charles and Caroline, and it's written by Rose Wilder, who is their granddaughter. That's not going to count. Anyways, the next one is to read a book that is about a war other than World War II. So there's several things that I could put in here, potentially, but I think I don't want to put in more books. So I'm going to try to go with a war of religion, which is Plain Jane. I know that during this time, Jane Seymour was very much on the Protestant side of faith, and this was during the whole Protestants versus Catholics and the whole Henry VIII debacle around that, when religious upheaval was happening. So War of Faith, I'm going to go with there. The next one is a historical fiction subgenre, which I'm going to go with To Dwell Among the Cedars. This one is a biblical fiction. So this one is about the Bible. It's a retelling about a biblical scenario. So this is definitely a subgenre within the historical fiction genre itself. So the next 2 I can't do, at least not for sure knowing, as both of these, I don't think either of them take place in winter, and both of them have people on the cover, so that's unfortunate. But the last one is a book that has someone's name in it, or the name of the title, so Plain Jane. So I'm kidding a few of the prompts with this little TBR, and we're gonna call it that way. I did want to participate, but I just couldn't add it in unless I had books that already worked. So participating in a mild way. I should also mention that Historathon is hosted by the Curly Reader and by Science Mama, so I will link everyone along with everyone else down below. So the next Readathon is one that is probably the one I was most excited for when it was announced, as it had a lot of time for me to prep it and get ready. It says 25 prompts, and this is the Valet Times, and I am so excited. It's hosted by Chapter Kate, and it's a bingo board of 25 cards, or 25 prompts, which is huge, and I just found that most of the books I was reading already fit in, so I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. So here we are. So I don't remember exactly what the prompts are, but I did write down the title of the prompt and then the book I'm reading in my trusty bullet journal. So I'm going to read that aloud, and if I remember the prompt, I'll tell you what it is. And I have the bingo card here, I hope. So the first one is Love Shack, and that one was to read a book with a structure in the title or on the cover. And so I'll be reading House of Treason by Robert Hutchinson. This one is a nonfiction about the Tudor family and how they rose and then they fall. So sounds good. I'm buddy reading that one with Janelle from Too Fond of Books as well. I'll link her down below too. The next one is Black Future Month, which I will be reading Binti for. Then there's Goo Goo Eyes, which is to read a book with eyes on the cover, out of reach, but I'll be reading The Mother of the Brontes by Sharon Wright. So beautiful eyes there. Then there was an action one, which is Love Note. You can look into all of these actions on your own time if you'd like to. Words of Affirmation was to read a book blurbed by one of your favorite authors. So I'm going to be reading Educated for that, as Susanna Callahan blurbed it, and I read Brain on Fire, loved it. So I wouldn't call her my favorite author, but it works for this challenge, and I'm going to count it. Then for love language, it's to read a translated book, and I am finishing out The Three Musketeers. I am reading this with Berna from Berna's Bookish Adventures, so It definitely helps a lot. And I already have that partially started, halfway started, but I don't care, I'm counting it. Then is Spread the Love on the board, which I'm not able to do now. Then Skip a Beat, which is to read an Agatha Christie book that you don't, or to read a book you don't know anything about. And I am going to be putting in They Do It With Mirrors, as I never read the synopsises of Agatha Christie. I don't know anything about them. I just know I love Agatha Christie. That's all I ever need to know. So there we go. So the next one is Quality Time, which was to read a book that you would spend a lot of time on, or that you would, I don't remember the other part of it, but I'll be spending 2 months reading this. I've spent a month reading this already, and I'll have spent another full month reading this. So that takes a lot of time. The Three Musketeers again. Then Gifts, which is a book that was gifted to you, or a book you'd gift to someone else. And I received Pioneer Girl as a gift many years ago. So that's my gift book. So the next one is Opposites Attract, which is to read a book, I think in a genre, or not in a genre, or something, or format you don't normally read. And I read a lot of genres, but I don't read a lot of spoken word poetry. So I'll be reading solo for this. So then for my Sunshine, I think the prompt was to make you feel happy, or a light-hearted book. And I'll be reading Little Miss Sunshine by Dana Colbert. The T is a little messed up on here. But this is a love-inspired romance, really short, really small, really fast to read, lighthearted. Another action square, which is Valet Times, and then Long Distances. And I think this was to read a book about a culture different than yours. So I'll be reading Binti for this one. Then Head Over Heels, which was to read a book about, or by an author whose first name is longer than their last name. Goodness. So I will be reading The Three Musketeers. Alexander Dumas. A lot longer first name than last name. So that's a handy book to read for this readathon, to be honest. Next one is Touch, to read a book that has a unique feeling or will touch you in a special way. So this one has, what is it? Edges? It has a kind of edges. I can't remember now, but I'm excited to pick this one up. I also feel like I really feel for the people in those kinds of books, so it'll be touching still. Then the next one is Long-Term Ship. So a book you've had for a long time, and that one is House of Treason. I've owned it for at least 4 years now. Sharing is Caring, to read a book for another readathon. So I figured I'd put White Rage in here, as that one is for the Buzzwordathon and for the Black Lit Challenge. Then Love Song, which is to pick a book based on your favorite song. I will leave a link to it down below of her official video, but it's Ruth B's Lost Boys. I love that song. And I love working with children. I love children, and I wanted to put in this one again, as this one I believe is about a guardian of, or an uncle who is a guardian of his niece, and it sounds really cute. So that is something very similar to that song. So the next action is Bubble Bath, and then the next one action is Date Night. So both actions. Then Acts of Service, which is to read a book about a quest. So I'll be reading the final Harry Potter book for this. I don't really talk about it too much on my channel, but I want to finish up the series. So this will be my probably final time, aside from my wrap up, talking about Harry Potter. Then Dreams Come True, which is to read a book about a dream that you have figuratively or realistically. And I want to be a parent one day, and this book is about parenting, even if you're not the biological parent, which is actually part of that dream as well. So that's exciting. Then the next one is Commitment Issues, which is to finish or continue a series. I think that was how it was. And so I'll be finishing off the Harry Potter series. And then First Date, which is to read a book by an author you have never read before. So I'll be reading Mother of the Brontes by Sharon Wright. I have never read Sharon Wright before, so excited. Whew. And that's that. I think I'm done for the readathons. After that, it's a lot of books. I think it's 20, and it's a 28-day month, and I might be losing my mind crazy over it. However, I am excited to participate in them all, and I really don't want any of them to go by the wayside. So here we go. Are you doing any of these readathons? Have you picked out your TBR, and are any of our books the same? Would you like to buddy read any of these books with me? Please let me know down in the comments. I would also really love it if you could let me know down below your recommendations for any books that are really fun and interesting for Blacklit Challenge. What are you reading for Blacklit Challenge? That sounds like books I want to add to my TBR, honestly, and books I want to keep my eye out for when I go to the stores. So please let me know down below what are some books I should keep my eye out for and pick up when I can. I hope to see you in my next video. Please like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you with more content next time. Bye for now.